Step 9 is to make the casing for our elastic to go through. It says to press 1 inch on upper edge to the inside, forming the casing. I'm going to use my handy dandy ruler, set it to 1 inch. If you don't have a ruler like this, that's fine. Just use a regular ruler. And I'm going to start at one of our seams here, and I'm just going to measure and make sure that it's 1 inch. I have some threads here because I did this once and the video accidentally got deleted, so I had to take the whole thing back out and redo it. So we're redoing it. So you're just going to make sure that it's 1 inch down from the top all the way across, and you're just going to press. Okay. Use some steam to get a nice crisp line. Mine's going to press really easily because it was already pressed once, and I had to unpress it for you. So go down, make sure you're at 1 inch all the way. Okay, you're going to press that. Oh, my little threads. Okay, the next section. Check this where the seam is, make sure it's 1 inch. And check both sides. I'm going to press that. Start where the seam is. Go 1 inch, 1 inch on either side. Make sure that's folded nicely. Get that pressed. Okay, now we're all the way around. Okay, now it says to press under a 1/4 inch on the raw edge. So we're going to start here at this seam and we're just going to fold it under. I'm going to set my ruler to 3/4 inch. It's really hard to like measure a 1/4 inch and then fold it. So the easier way is to just make sure you have 3/4 inch left. So I am going to fold that under, and just go and make sure that I have 3/4 inch of a casing with a 1/4 inch tucked underneath. Again, mine was already pressed once, so this is going to be a little bit easier for me. So we'll get that 1/4 inch pressed on either side. This side I know is good. Let's double check this side. It's wanting to get a little bit bigger than it was. So that side. And then I'm going to make sure that I put a few pins in this 1/4 inch right on the edge, just to make sure that it doesn't unfold as I'm working with it and pressing it all the way around. Put a few pins here. And then we'll just rotate it around on the ironing board. Okay, we're going to again do the seam part first because it's thicker and wants to stick out. And then you can use that as a guide to where you've already folded on this side. And then you'll press that side. Put a pin in there. And then we'll do this other side. Check to make sure you have a 1/4 inch tucked. Press that side. Hot. My pin got really hot. My iron touched it. Okay, turn to the next side. Again, start it where the seam is. Make sure you have a 1/4 inch tucked down. Use that as your guide to fold the rest of it. A little too much there. Pull some of it back out. Okay, we'll press this side. in, and then we'll do the other side of the seam. Seam wants to come out. Okay, we'll press this side. And tuck this seam back underneath. It wants to keep getting bigger. Just press that. I'm not putting pins in the seam because it's so thick, but I'm just putting them really close on either side of the seam just to keep it tucked under. Okay, again, start at the seam. Get it tucked under 1/4 of an inch. One side. Get that pressed. Let's put a couple pins on this side. And then we're actually at our starting point, so we're going to use this as a guide. Get this whole thing tucked under all the way down. Double check it. Press this side. You don't need to move your iron around a lot, just hold it steady on there and it'll press it for you. All right. Now it says to stitch close to lower edge of casing, leaving an opening to insert elastic. So we're going to go back to our machine. We're going to make sure it's set to our normal stitch of 2.5 millimeter length. And we're going to find a spot where we want to just make an opening. So it'll be easier to have an opening where not a seam is. So I'm just going to pick somewhere in the middle between two seams and leave it open. So I'm just going to pick this spot. I'm going to leave this spot open, and I'm going to make sure that I only get part of my fabric, and we're going to line it up like we did with the, wow, my mind just went blank. We're going to line it up right on the edge, just like 1/8 of an inch away from our center needle. And so we're going to lower our needle down. We're going to reinforce at that opening and pull our pins out as we go along. We're just stitching super close to the edge to make sure that we catch that 1/4 inch that's tucked under. Go a little bit slower when you go over the seams. It's really thick there. You have about 8 layers of fabric in your seams now, and your machine has to work harder to get through those. We're going to stitch all the way around. Open this up, adjust it, pull your pins out. You do not want to go very far away from your edge. If you go too far away from your edge, you're not going to catch that 1/4 inch that's tucked under, and your elastic is not going to fit through, because you have to have enough space for that 1/2 inch elastic to go through. Adjust it as you go around because it's a circle. Somewhere over here. Tuck that under, it wants to come out. Okay, I am back to my beginning. I do not want to close this up, so I'm not going to go any farther than this red stripe right here, just to give me about 2-3 inches in order to insert the elastic. So I'm just going to go to the red line, reinforce your opening by going reverse a couple times. Okay, now we have our complete casing for our elastic. It's going to be very pretty. Make sure, just go around and check and make sure that you caught the fabric every time, all the way around. Yeah, it looks like I caught it all the way around. That's great. That is step 9.